friendly as Dash of Dave. He'll take some scraps and bits of this, turn them into something you can't miss. Junk journals, tapes, and crafts galore. He'll have you begging, show me more. Oh, Dash of Dave, oh, what a sight, mixing colors day and night.
Hi everyone, it's Dash of Dave here again, and I'm back for another crafty video. So, do you remember this from last Monday? Well, this is the continuation, so we're going to finish this off. So, this is going to be my scheduling stroke planning book. So, scheduling, however you say it. In the UK, we say scheduling. I know that in America it's scheduling, so however you say it, doesn't matter. It's my planning book. Okay, so we got as far as making the folder. So this is what we made last week, and I wanted it to feel like a ring binder that wasn't really a ring binder, because it was pre-advent of the rings for the binding, although we've got the holes. But so this is going to have more pages in it. I have just kept the yellow ones in here for now, but I do have more to put in, and string and that sort of thing. But I'm not going to really worry about that side of things, because I can add those with no problem. You've seen me do that, and that's fine. What I want to do is show you what I've come up with for the carding for it. So I wanted to have some kind of cards. I was planning to have 3 cards on a page, but I've actually decided to go down to 2 cards on a page. And that way then I can have some space for kind of feedback. So every time I do a video, I do the planning for it, I put it together, and then a couple of weeks later I look at the analysis of that video. So how well it's performed, what the algorithm says about it, that sort of thing. And that kind of helps me to build a picture of like the kind of things that people like to see. And that's why if you don't give it a like, I can't tell that you've liked it. Therefore, I can't build more videos around that sort of content that I think you might like. So anyway, the cards that I've come up with, let's go through those. So I will show you what they look like. So this is, I've made them all in advance. So we've got 2 styles. We've got these ones that are on cream card, and I've left those with a square edge, but just with a rounded bottom. That one didn't do the rounding bottom of it. I will though. So they have a rounded bottom, and then there's the ones made out of craft card. Now this craft card is a bit thinner. It's actually one that's been printed, but I didn't like the print on the back, so I've just used the front, and again in the same format but with rounded corners. So and so these are the cream, and so that one I didn't round, wasn't it, that one? Let's do the rounding of that, because I can't leave it like that, I can't. So these I came up with, and the reason for that is I will just talk to you about that in a second. Just gonna ink that edge off, although it doesn't need a lot of inking. Okay, so we'll go through one of these because it's easier to see, the cream one. So I've got the date. So the date is the date of release. So that's when it's scheduled for, planned for. Anyway. We'll call it planned. Let's just call it planned. So the date it's planned for release. Okay. The working title. Now, I often have a working title that I sometimes change for the final title, and that's because I'll refer to it as something in my head, and then I think, well, actually, you're not going to understand what I mean by that, so I try to change it to a title that people will encourage engagement from. So I have the working title and the final title. You're going to have to excuse me, I need to blow my nose. Sorry, I've got an ill Vic here at the moment, so he's come down with a cold, and I'm just hoping I'm not getting it now, because I'm starting to feel a bit stuffy. So anyway, so we've got the date, working title, final title. Then we have a photo, because it's always good to take a photo for a reference point. So I usually make a prototype of something. So then once I've made the prototype, I'm going to start photographing it, because you remember I've got this kind of this little can't remember what it's called. It's Kodak one. One step. it's a little photo printer that pairs with your phone and prints you a little photo. I'll show you that in a second. Then we've got the measurements. So these are all the measurements that I'm going to need for the, what size piece of card I use or paper, and then the measurements I need to cut it to, and then we've got the description of what it is and a bit of a method of how to do it. So that's what comes on the card. There's nothing on the back. They're just literally, so this one is two pieces of card that I've just kind of stuck together to make a whole one. These are, like I say, are all printed on, just drawn onto craft card. So that's what they look like pre-aging. And the reason I came up with this design, I am telling you now, the reason I came up with this design is that first one there was the thickness of my ruler from the edge. So that's that first line. That next line there for the photo was the thickness of the ruler up against that line. The top line was a bit more of a measurement. It's actually, I think it's, what is it, half an inch? No, 3/4 of an inch at the top. Then I just split that box into two, with no rhyme or reason. This measurement here is just the thickness of a ruler. I just think, well, why? That's why my ruler is heavily marked with black ink down the edge. I just think, why bother trying to measure things when you've got, you can use the widths of something. So anyway, so they're the pieces. So I'll show you what a final card looks like. So we'll actually talk about these. So this is my working title is a registry card, because they look like a registry card. So we used to use registry cards in all sorts of things like office, and they were things for registering a product. So when I worked in retail, very early on in retail, they used to have registry cards that would be a product. You'd get the registry card out and it'll tell you all about the product and the measurements and all sorts of things. So that's really where I got it from. I don't remember what they look like, and they might not even look like this, but that's what I'm calling them. So the date, this is the date it will be released. So this is the date due for that its planned release date is, the measurements and the description. So this is the video you're watching today. So hopefully it's the 13th of January that this has been released on, and that's hopefully that I haven't got my planning wrong. So so this is one of those photos. Like I say, these are they just print it from my one-step Kodak printer, and it's got a peel off back and it's self-sticky, so that it was perfect. I hadn't even thought about, will the photo fit in that space, but it does. It's fine. The only thing is, once you put the photo on there, you can't see a photo, but the word photo, it doesn't matter. So that's how I came up with those cards. So the only thing I haven't done is, well, I've kind of started a bit of a planning, but I haven't finished the look of them, is the feedback cards. So this is how I'm planning for these to be laid out. So this is my registry card. This was my prototype for how I was doing it. And this is the co-op storage box that I did on the 30th of the 12th. So that was the one I used as a prototype. So it's going to go sit at the top of the page. It's just going to be glued down. It's not going to be something you're going to remove, so that you're not going to need to look at the back. It's just going to be glued down. This one's going to be glued at the bottom, and then on here what I'm going to have, and the reason I didn't glue it here is because obviously the holes are in the way, and that's how basically it evolved, because I was thinking about having narrower cards to be able to account for that, but then I needed more space. My writing's not the smallest, it's not the neatest, and it needs to be, the bigger it is, the better it looks. So I wanted it something that was legible to me. So then these are the cards that are going to fit in here. So I measured this. This is, I can't remember now. Yeah, 7.5 inches in diameter. So from the string to the edge, about 7.5 inches. And I believe it's 3.5, yep. So then I came up with these. So these are the little feedback cards that are going to sit on here. And we're just going to stick those onto there. And what these will have on them is they'll have an arrow pointing to whichever one it is, and a bit of a blurb about the feedback. Now, the kind of things that I look at when I'm doing my channel are, I look at the number of people that have liked a video. I look at the percentage of likes to dislikes, or dislikes to likes. Usually it's more likes than dislikes, but I do have, every now and again I get one person who dislikes each one of my videos. Now that's fine if they dislike it, it's entirely up to them, but it just confuses me that there's just one. It's not that it's a plethora of people that dislike it, there's just one. I don't record any information regarding comments other than the number of comments that were made. So let's just write this down, because that will help me formulate how I'm going to use this space. So I'm going to get a bit of scrap paper, well, a bit of scrap card. So the stuff that I need on here is, the analytics. My analytics for these are, I want the number of likes, percentage likes to dislikes, we want number of comments, and whilst I read all the comments and I try to reply, I know I'm a little bit behind. That's because the Christmas period completely threw me. I thought I had more time than I actually ended up having, and it's all over now. So I will reply, but I don't record any specific comments. So I don't, I reply to people's things that people have made, comments that people have made. If you are asking me a question, it's best to email me, because it gets lost in the comments. You reply, so once I've replied to you, it disappears off the list of, and I always look at the list of the people I haven't responded to, and it disappears off that list, because even if you put another question in on that same feed, it will look like I've replied to you, and it doesn't need responding to. So always best to email me if you have a question. But like I say, with comments, I just look at the number of comments that I've had. I'm just thinking what else. So number of views and view duration, and then click through. So I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. Obviously the ideal thing to do there would be to have, so each card needs to have a bit at the bottom or top that is kind of lined off. That way then I can use that as the arrow to point either that way, or I put it that way. And then each one of these, let's just have a look at where the middle would be if I folded it in half, because that would be a good place to put a middle line. It goes in the middle, so that's the middle. I'll put that on there. That sits on that line nicely. So if we put the middle here, oh no, not through that line there, just here on that bottom bit, and then if we split this into 3. Now if I put my ruler on it, does that split into 3 nicely? No, I don't think it will. No, it won't. And then those are going to be too narrow. So what do we have? What's the measurement that we have there? We have 1, 2, and 2 3/4 inches. Okay, so the obvious thing to do there would be to measure it in both inches and centimeters. 2 3/4 inches, yeah, or 7 centimeters. So 7 divided by 3 is impossible. 6 divided by 3, however, is 2 centimeters. and then 1 divided by 3 is a third. So it's actually a little over, to be fair. What is that? That's 71, 2, so 72 millimeters. Is 72 divisible by 3. I'm sorry, but like this, division, not necessarily my strong point. Fairly good at maths, just not very good at division. Right, it is equally divisible. It's 24, so 2.4 centimeters is. So what I would do then is that's 2.4. Hang on, that's 2. Where's 2.42? That's 2.4 there. So if I do 2.4, let's get a piece. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a jig. Okay. I'm not going to do a jig. Nobody wants to see me do a jig. Trust me, nobody wants to see me do a jig. Let's make a jig. Let's go 2.4. Is that 2.4 or is that 2.4? That's 2.4. That's there. And that's also, it's really hard to see those tiny markings. It's also 2.4. So if I cut that as a straight line. Oh, by the way, changed my blade. So, woohoo, and all that. Cut that off there. That's now my jig, which means that I can just go through the whole piece of thing, draw a line. Draw a line. That means I'm only measuring once. I don't have to keep measuring every time. Although that's not perfect, it's doable. It's not so far out that it's really noticeable. So then I can have I do a triangle. And that will indicate whether that's the top or the bottom. So it indicates which card it relates to. So I'm just going to make these lines a bit thicker. And yet another card. Sorry, another ruler with a black line down the edge of it, but never mind. That's what we have our crafting rules for, and it will come out. A bit of alcohol ink, it'll be fine. Alcohol ink, no alcohol, just alcohol, just not vodka. What am I talking about? A little bit of what am I talking about? Alcohol, yeah, that. Isopropyl, that one. Isopropyl, blah blah blah. Yeah, that. A bit of that, and it'll turn out fine. So like I say, I'm just going to use this as my jig. I should have done a jig for the middle, really, shouldn't I? The middle of that is what actually, how wide, it's 1.5, Dave. Just do a 1.5 inch thing. Blah blah blah, do do do. 1.5 is all you need. Do do do. Why the A-team? I have no idea. It just is. We just have to accept what goes through my head. Just goes through my head, and that's all. I had. We are the champions, my friends, and we'll keep on fighting. That one. Going through my head the other day. Not the other day. I mean this morning. for some reason. I don't know why. Woke up with it. It's just what happens. I obviously start picking up the local radio signal. So they're going to be my little feedback things. So we're just gonna let me just write in what these are relating to. So we've got likes, versus percent. Then we've got number of comments. Then we've got number of views, view duration, and I know there's so many things that I should be analysing, but these are what I kind of focus on, really. And then click through. Okay, so, and then this one I'll obviously have to be up the other way because of having to point to different things. So no number, it looks like no comment. No, that's Dave, that was wrong. It's because I write what I'm saying. No views, let's hope there were some. Number of views. And new view duration and click through. Okay, so let's ink these down and then get them looking like they should. Now I was thinking I'd like to kind of distinguish them easier. So what I was thinking about doing is maybe using a different colour for the feedbacky bit. So I'm not sure whether to use green, blue or red. I think red says the wrong thing, doesn't it? Let's go green. Don't use that, Dave. Let's use this one. So I'm just going to use the green. This is just crushed olive, and we're just going to. It's not going to be hugely noticeable that it's a green colour. But I'm just going to go over it and make it look slightly different. And obviously all the pages are going to be different colours as well, so because I just wanted to, didn't want to use anything that was, you know, good stuff. I wanted to use up scrap stuff. So it's not a huge difference, but it's just enough to kind of make them stand out a bit. Let's just go through that as well, just go all over it first this time. And then do the darker colour around the edge. Might put some brown on it as well, just to kind of just pick up the edges a bit better. A bit darker on the edges, that's better yet. Just a bit darker on the edges. It doesn't do a very good job of making it very dark around the edges, so. Through it all, and then just what we'll do is, like I say, these are all going to be things that are going to be attached. So I don't have the data for this. The data, however you say it. Data, potato, patata. So that's basically how I'm gonna do it. So that's going to be me trying to be organised for 2025. The other thing I'm going to do is on the back of each page, I'm going to put some of these. So I've got loads of these. I bought a thing off eBay of these. These are internal mail envelopes. They're internal mail envelopes, and the way that you can tell that there's something in there is because when you put something in, you can see it through the holes. So, took it in, you can see that there's holes, and you can see that there's something in there, and people don't use these anymore because people send emails these days. But I was thinking of having some of these on. In fact, that's the way up that I'm going to use them, and having them on the backs of each page, just to make it look a little bit more oldie looking. And what I was going to do is have one of those on the back, and if you see on this card here, actually, let's turn it over. It'll say here, blank copy in envelope. This is 2A. So these will have various envelopes on them, and they'll be referenced. Now, actually, I've put 2A, but it should actually be 1A because this envelope is going to be 1A. That's 1A. Cool. So what we'll have is this on the front. In fact, let's do that. Let's assemble this page now. So this is the first one I did, and I'm going to put that in there because that's my inspiration for this. So yeah. So I'm gonna I was thinking, oh, should I put that in there? But no, I'm going to put that on the page, which is that's the whole point of this, is to have it on the page, because this is where my inspiration came from. So let's just stick it down. So this one I went to town on. I put a bit of aged sellotape on, but I'm running out of aged sellotape, so I'm going to make myself some more of that, and that'll be, might even do that on a video. I know you've seen me do it 1,000 times, but you know, there are some newbies here. So if you're new to my channel, thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing. I know it looks really dirty on the back of here, and that's because this had been all around my mat by the time I'd decided what I was doing with it. So I'm going to glue it down onto here. It's going to sit at the top of this page like that, and then we're going to glue this one down because this is the next one, isn't it? Yeah, that's the, and this is where it really starts from, is the 13th. And it means that at the end of this week, so I'm currently filming this on January the 5th. Can you believe it's already we're already into January? Sorry if you can hear people revving their engines, by the way. It's more a case of, I think people are trying to get some traction. We've had quite a bit of snow fall, and people trying to get out of their drives and things. Okay, it hangs over a little bit. Not worried. It's my planning book. So I think, yeah, that way round. I'm going to put stick this down. Now I realise this means that there's going to be a lot of this to do, but what I was planning to do is have on the inside of my, maybe to start with at least, on the inside, I might make a little pocket for those to kind of sit into, so that I can take one out whenever I need one. I don't know whether to do it that way round or to do it that way round. I think I'd probably go for that way round, so I can take one out, fill it in, etc. But that also means I'll need one of these, so maybe there and there. I don't know. We'll see. Sorry, they were the measurements, so that I remembered what measurements these were, because I hadn't cut a whole load of these like I did the other ones. So then they can go on there, and this will be my way of planning. And then on the back of here, we're going to stick one of my envelopes. Is this the one I've done? It is. I'm going to stick an envelope. And actually what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to stick it right to the edge. And that way then, if I've got something bulky, it can sit on there, but the edges can lift up as well. So if I just go for a bit of glue down the middle, it'll be enough to secure it, but without it compromising its, you know, security, not security, but adhesion, maybe. If we have that on the back of there, stick that down, and then I do need to call this envelope, so we'll just have it on the flap. We'll have it as 1A. So that's my 1A envelope. So this will flip back. So maybe that's the other thing to get sorted, is something in which to put those. So I could do with, I've got loads of this cardboard that I'm not into, but the thing is with this, I don't think that's rigid enough. This is actually just proper craft cardboard. This, it has a bit more rigidity. Is that right? Rigidity. Yeah, rigidity. So it doesn't, see, it, that's much more limp than that. It's really hard to tell, but like there's less limpiness in that. I can't turn it on its side for you to be able to see the limpiness, because gravity doesn't work, you know, that way. It doesn't work from left to right. It's a good job, really. My craft room would be a complete mess. Oh no, I can't really blame couldn't really blame gravity. It's a complete mess anyway. So, so let's have a look at this. I want it to be fairly tight so that it holds them nicely. Okay, so they are 4 inches. We know they're 4 inches, so we don't want it to be much bigger than 4 inches. We need it to be, is that going to be too tight? If I do it at 4 1/8 wide, or it might be a bit tight, especially after I've done all of the folding. Let's go for, right, okay, I'm going to do 4 1/4 and see if I need to adjust it. So we're going to go 4 1/4 wide, and it's, remember, it's just a pocket, so we're not making a proper box. So we're going to have 4 1/4 wide. We need it to be 1/2 inch deep. So let's just put these measurements down, because it will mean nothing to me. This means nothing to me. Oh, Vienna. So we need it to be, what did I just say? 4 1/4 wide. So let's have a look at this. So we're going to have it a bit of a notchy thing out at the top. So we're going to have that as 4 1/4. Did I say 4 1/4? Yeah, 4 1/4 wide. We are going to have it, so the depth of it, so this measurement is going to be 1/2 inch. And then we're going to have it how high? We need it fairly high to hold on to it. We don't want it too high. So if we go for 6 inches, let's go 6 inches. So it's going to be 6 inches that way. So, and that's 6 inches. So that means that my piece of card needs to be this is kind of a rough sketch that I know. So it's going to be 4 1/4 that way. It's going to have 1/2 inch either side, and then we also need, I'm going to go for 1 inch to wrap around the back. So that's 1 inch. That's 1/2 inch. that's 4¼ inches, that's 1/2 inch, and that's 1 inch. So it needs to be, that's 3, that's 7 1/4, 7 1/4 wide. No, that's half, Dave. And then we need it to be 6 inches. So this is 6 inches. 6. That is half, and that is 1. So that's 7½ by 7½. So we're going to go 7 1/4 by 7½. Okay, let's move those out of the way. Get the trimmer in. 7. Let's do the 7 1/4 first. 7 1/4 by 7½. Okay, so that's the top. Let's put this, yeah, this way around, top. And I've just put inside because this is going to be the inside side. The inside side? Yeah. Okay, then what I need is scoreboard and scoring tool, which is there. So we're going to do 1 inch and then 1/2 inch. And I'm just going to turn it round to make it easier. 1 inch and 1/2 inch, and then this is going to be the bottom, so this is going to have 1 inch and 1/2 inch. The top side doesn't need one. That was nice and simple, wasn't it? So then that means that all of this is going to be cut out. Easier to actually cut it this way. Cut all of that out. Do I want to cut it all out? No, I want to cut it with that. That needs to be a flap, Dave. So actually, so let's go like that. That bottom bit is going to be a flap. So that's staying as a flap. So that's going to go all the way up to there. That's going to go all the way up to there. That's going to go just to there, and that's going to go to there. Okay, we're just going to snip that bit out to make it a triangular cut-out bit, and then cut this bit out, the triangular cut-out. I'm just going to cut a little bit off there as well, so a little bit off there. No, maybe that's a little bit too little. And then we're just going to cut that into a slightly sloped edge for the time being. We might have to go a bit further with this, because what we'll get is these, when these fold in, let's get this, big guns deployed. Oh, I've decided that was the middle, that was the outside, wasn't it? So that and that. Let's do that and that. And they're going to go in here. So what we're going to end up with is, when this back folds over, it's going to clash with this. So I just want to see how much I need to take off it. So fold that in. And that one in. Oh, maybe with a, it doesn't matter if it's not a straight line, because nobody's going to see it, but it's not going to be a straight line as well, because my cardboard has other plans. So when this comes up to here, that's going to overlap. Is that going to be a problem? Right, in that case then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold that to that corner there, and I'm going to snip it from this corner to that corner, and that should cut off enough so it doesn't overlap. There we go, perfect. Do the same again. So hold them into the place, And then I'm going to go from this, where the two parts meet, to that very that corner. And then that means that then they will be a perfect right angle and not clash with each other. So when they glues down, it glues down like that. Right, great. So this needs to have a thumb notch out of the middle of it. Let's just see if we can get that as a better middle. A better middle, I mean the middle. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll be perfect for me. So that's those bits. Let's just see now if these now fit into here. If that becomes a little box, will that sit round everything? It will indeed. Will it stick? It will. It'll look wonderful. Perfect. So that's great for that. Okay, then what we needed was a similar sort of thing. Of course, I've got to cut those, haven't I? But I knew that they were 3 by 3.5. So let's just cut me down, roll me over, cut me down, and do it again. Now, don't start though. Right. Sorry, brain's gone. Oh, blah, 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 blah. My brain's just literally fallen out of my head. Is that right? 3.5 by. Oh, don't you all fall down? Don't you dare? Okay, that is right. So, how did I do the little bits out of the corners? I did it with my new crocodile. So, crocodile corner chomper. So this is one of the things that Vic bought me for Christmas, and it gives you different things. So let me just show you what I've got here. I've got a little corner, and I've got a little bottom. I think that looks like a bottom, personally, but I don't think that's what they call it. What do they call it? A scallop. Okay, so there we go. You heard it here first. Let's just do this. Isn't it nice when you get a tool that just works? I mean, like there's no strain on that at all whatsoever. And then it closes. I thought that was really nice. So he's a clever boy. He knows the kind of things that I like. He knows how to keep me happy as well. What did I say? So I went for. Where's my little measurements for that? There it was. So I went 4.25, didn't I? And did I end up with that being too wide or not? I'll wrap that round like that. Do you know what? No, that's perfect. They've got like about 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so again, we'll do the same. So in that case, then we need to start again with the measurements. We want to go for, so we still want the same, don't we? The same number. Yeah. So I've got my piece measures 3 by 3.5. So my box needs to be. What am I doing? 1.5. So I need 3 on the width, and sorry, 1.5. 1.5 there, 1.5 there. So that's 3 added to the width, and then we've just got 1.5 added to the height. So that makes it 5 by 5. So that's 6 by 5. I don't think that's going to be big enough. It's definitely not going to be big enough, Dave, because there is no way that is 5 inches. No, it's not. Oh, I could get away with. Oh no, I could get away with less if I knew what the measurement was that I needed to. I did 3/4 of an inch. Three-quarters of an inch at the back. That would be quarter of an inch plus 3/4 of an inch. That's an inch. So that would make that 3. So that's 5.5. Oh, I don't do. Eh? What? No. What am I doing, Dave? That's 3.5 plus quarter plus 3/4 added to that. So that's 1. That makes it 4.5. It's this 4.5 inches wide. That's what I was trying to establish, I think. It is. So I could go 6 by 4.5. What did I just say then? 4.5. And have the first score line, instead of an inch, the first score line needs to be 3/4 of an inch. I'll just use this because it's a smaller thing. Okay. So we go 3/4 of an inch on this one. We go 1/4 of an inch on that one, and then we turn it. Oh, I don't need to, I could do, and then I'll just have an inch on this bottom one. 1/4 of an inch on that one. This is going to be too long. Just realised it's going to be too long. 3/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, and that's going to be too long because that's going to be. That's not even going to fit, Dave. How the heck did you get that so wrong? Oh, so wrong, and yet so wrong. I don't know how I managed that. I was trying to be cocky there, wasn't I? So it needs to be well, you know, let's try it again. Should we try again? That's not going to work, is it? So we know what it is. So we know that is 3 by 3.5. So it's 3 inches wide. Yeah, by 3.5 inches long. Yes. So then we need to add on a bit, 1/4 of an inch either side of that, and then an inch either side of that. And then it needs to have, oh, it doesn't need to be that high though, does it? It can be, well, let's have an inch sticking out at the top, so let's make that 2 inches high. No, Dave. What? Get rid of those figures. It's going to be 2 inches high, so that measurement is 2 inches, that measurement is 2 inches, and that measurement is 3. That's 2.5 inches, Dave. Taking an inch off the length of it. It's 3.5 now. How am I just not able to do this in my my brain has just gone, no, I'm not doing this anymore. You get me to do all these maths and then like you abuse me, and so I'm not playing anymore. So you abuse me with no sleep, and so you expect me to perform with the drop of a hat. You can go. Yes. So that measurement, that height measurement, is 2.5 of the actual thing. So 2.5, and that's 1/4. So that measurement is going to be 2.5. No, that's 1/4. No, 2.5 plus 1/4 plus an inch. Plus an inch. So 2, 3, and 3/4. 3 and 3/4 high. So then that way we know that that is 3 inches, and that's 1/4 and that's 1/2. So that's 3 inches. That's a quarter. That's 1. That's a quarter. That's 1. So 1, 2, 5.5 inches wide. 5.5 inches wide. 5.5 by 3 3/4. If this goes wrong again, I don't know. I really don't know what to say. I'll just say, it's because my brain doesn't work. 3 3/4. You're all screaming now at me saying, "Get it right!" Just use maths. So yeah, just use maths. Do you know what? I think I might have had that round the wrong way. That's the reason why. I think that should have been the width, and that was the height. But I was getting all, I know what I'm doing. So this is the height. So we're going to have a 1 and then a quarter, and then we're going to turn it round. We're going to have a 1 and a quarter. Is that a quarter? Oh, I don't know. Have I just done that wrong? Is that a quarter of an inch? Which is a quarter of an inch? That's a quarter of an inch. 1. Is that half an inch? Oh, blimey. What? How much did I say I wanted? How deep did I want it? How deep is your love? Who am I? How deep is your love? I wanted it half anyway. I can't get this right. What is going on? This is not going to go. I've done this wrong. That's supposed to be half. That's 1.5 plus 1.5 is 3. It needs to be 6 inches wide. 6 by 3, and that's wrong as well. That's 3.5 by 4.5. Oh dear, that's my brain, honestly. You'd just be glad you don't have a brain like mine. Let's try again, Dave. Third time lucky. You know what they say, third time lucky? Well, we're going to test that theory now. 4.5. I've just... I don't know what to say. I've got nothing else to say. My right not to say anything. I think that's called the Fifth Amendment in America. It doesn't mean anything here. So that means that it's going to be wider than it is long. Fingers crossed. So that means that this is going to be 1.5, and that's going to be 1.5. And then we're going to do this at 1.5, and we will then just see if that sits in that space. It does, I think. So then we're just going to cut this out in the same way. Let's go up to there and up to there. Just cut that little bit out there. Come on, I said cut it out, thank you. Cut it out. 1. Just cut that little bit out. Okay, so that's going to cut this off completely. and this off completely. I'm going to cut that down to a tab, and that down to a tab. I'm just going to cut that into a little bit of a V. And there. Same on that side. Steady hand, Dave. Not much effort, a steady hand. No, that's not the case, Dave. Don't have a steady hand. So let's. I'm so sorry that took so long to get to here. If you know, as long as the video isn't running too long, I'll try and leave that foolishness in. But you know, the video runs long, then sometimes that gets cut. But I always think on a Monday I can get away with having longer videos because they're kind of just a me making something. So you know, you either want to spend some time with me or you don't. So I feel that Mondays are an easier, a bit more of a free day for me. So I don't have to stick to a run time, or you know, I don't have to think, oh, you know, this has gone on longer than an hour. Nobody wants to see this, so. Will you go in there? Yes, you will. Hurrah! That's good, because I wasn't going to play anymore. So, let's bring this back in. Let's put these into place then. So, we have this little pocket here. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to glue the shape of it together first, and then I'll glue it down to the page. Oh no, I need to ink it all as well first, don't I? I had an ink thing, and I don't know where you are. Where did you go? You went. That's where you went. Obviously there's no point doing the tabs at the back because nobody's going to see them, but I'll do the sides. And the bottom edge as well. Bottom edge a bit dirtier, I think. Dirtier. Just going to smooth that out of the way a bit, flatten it out a bit. Just get this bit at the top, go over the whole thing. I don't mind it being mottly or uneven, that's fine. That bit. An octopus. The octopus has not gone away, it's still around. So, and I'm just going to do the little bit inside, and that's just because once it's empty, you'll be able to just see just inside, just into the inside sides. When you look down, it doesn't look quite as bright, neat, white. Well, not white. It wasn't white in the first place, but you know what I mean. Cool. So that's that. And like I said, I'm just going to assemble it first. Hold that over into there. And just pinch that into a corner. Doing the other side, I'll just put a peg on there and pinch that into the corner. And again, I'm just going to peg that. Once I've pinched it, I was going to say, once I've pinched it, it should stay, but it didn't. I'll just hold it this time. I mean, I don't have to worry too much about this because it's not really going to be the thing holding it down. It's that these are the bits that are going to hold that down. So I'm going to glue this. And this. And actually, I'm thinking I think I'm going to put this in the back because it'll just make it less heavy to pick it up. You know, flipping the front cover. So if I put this one nearer the spine, it's less weighty on the very edge of the thing. The very edge of the thing. Okay, so let's stick that down maybe there. And I'm going to get a ruler in there to glue down that tab, and to glue that one down as well. Just make sure it makes some contact, especially with that at the bottom as well. And then we'll do the same with this. Just a little notch out at the top of here. Well, let's go for a smaller one for that, this one. That'll do. Where's my cut off? Again, just ink over that thing. I want to get that nice and grubby looking. And then again, just on the inside, because if it's empty you'll be able to see these bits just by looking down into it. So and then again we're just going to glue that tab in place. Hold it round. Stick it. It should be in place now, it is. And then the same with this, I'll just put a peg on that while I'm doing this. Fold that one round. Glue it down. Again, just get a peg and hold that in place while I sort myself out. Okay, put the lid back on that. I'll just put the lid on that as well, Dave. That should be fine now. That is going to go there. I don't know if to have it there or to have it there. No, I'll have it there. Try and make it the same height as the other one. I will try. I'll endeavour to. Sorry, just making sure there's no glue on the inside. I don't want the things sticking into it. So. Wipe it off the side. Stick that down. Out there. Again, ruler just to press it all down. Okay, so let's put these into place. Now I didn't write the details across all of them. I've done it on a few, the ones I think at the front, and then the others, they're obviously not inked, or there's no ink on them, and there's ink on that one, but there's generally no ink on them, and generally no writing on them. Try and get them all around the right way. Is that right? Yep, they're all like that. So they can go in there. How many more of them are there? They can all sit in there, and I haven't done many of them, so well, I haven't got any spares. I've already got that one, so that isn't even written. But that's how they're going to go. That's going to go like that. We've put in our envelope, and we've put our first lot of cards on. So that's it. So that's my little organisational file for getting myself ready for, I mean, like, obviously there might be more required as I go on throughout the year. I don't know whether I'm going to keep them in there or I'm going to archive them in something else. I might even change the design. I might have, some other shape things that I will then invent and create. So anyway, that's my little utilitarian file for my planning. It probably needs a label on it, but at the moment I haven't printed one. I'm definitely not going to be writing it because it will look terrible. But yeah, so hopefully you have enjoyed that, and that is something that you think looks quite utilitarian. But there we go. So all tied in. Sorry, so you can untie them. It's got the what did I call them? Registry cards. It's got the feedback cards with somewhere to store the relevant bits. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to take one of these. I'm going to take one that's already pre-prepped. I'll take one of the ones out from let's use one of these ones, one of the white card ones. I'm going to put that in there, so that's in there. And then also, what did we want from here? So we wanted, we didn't have I don't have a flattened version of that, but I will make one to go in the box, into the thing, because that's what it says. Flattened version in envelope A1A. But there we go. So that's it. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that's something that you thought was a bit different. How many other people have you seen with a planner, a scheduler, or scheduler, or however you say it? And what other designs have other people got? I haven't seen anybody else's, to be fair. I just came up with this because I knew that this would work with me, with what I like, my utilitarian aesthetic. So anyway, I've got another one over here which I can't show you because it's the One Sheet Wonder coming up, and that'll be on Wednesday, but I've already done the card for it. Alright then folks, take care. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Dasher Dave, and guess what? I love you all without exception, until you give me a reason not to. So don't give me a reason not to, and I'll see you all very soon. Take care folks, lots of love, mwah, mwah, mwah. Lots of hugs, and I'll see you very soon. Take care, bye.